one of the great things about astronomy is everyone on the planet gets to look up and see the stars. So it literally is something that every human since the beginning of humanity has had a chance to interact with. And because astronomy itself doesn't create direct benefits, it creates indirect benefits, economic, but the direct benefits are just the knowledge that we create. So we find it a really good place to work together to solve the really hard problems. And so when I look at how we work with China right now, the Einstein probe is a Chinese instrument where the data is shared, and then telescopes around the world go through and follow up the things they see. And we're looking for neutron stars coming together and creating the heavy elements. Very, very rare. We've only seen that literally once. Trying to get everyone to work together is pretty easy, and it's exciting. So in that sense, I think it's a way to keep us all talking, working, and sharing our knowledge as humanity together. So in that sense, yeah, we're quite unique.
How do you envision a new institution like Westlake contributing uniquely to the next generation of global cosmological research?
So cosmology is the study of the universe. And so in 1998, we made a discovery that the universe is speeding up as it expands. And that was a big surprise. So that was a relatively small group of 20 people. Now we have groups of hundreds, if not thousands of people working together and making many, many measurements for many years and putting it all together to make really accurate measurements of the type we made, so much more accurate than we made in 1998. So that's a brute force technique. And Westlake will have people who have been recruited from those teams. But I think the place we're going to probably make the big leaps forward are people having new ideas where we don't necessarily need to use brute force to solve the problem. We come up with a new way to look at the problem, a new way to measure it, and suddenly a few researchers with a clever idea are suddenly to make a breakthrough. That's the way science usually works. Not always. So you sort of need this tension of the great, huge projects along with the creative ideas that are revolutionizing how we do things. And that's a good place for Westlake, I think, to bring in young people who are part of the big projects but have the freedom to come up with the new ideas to answer these big questions.
Disruptors.
You want disruptors. Science is about being disruptive. It's really important for people to realize that science is not about being boring and just confirming what we already know. Science is actually about learning things we did not know. That's the value add we do. If you just want to work on stuff we already know, then bring in the engineers and just go for it. But the physicists and scientists, we're there to break things. That's our job.
How do you see AI and machine learning reshaping astronomical research in the coming decade?
So astronomers were early adopters of AI. I used a 2-layer neural network back in 1994 before most people even knew what they were, right? And I used that to help find the supernovae that we use to measure the expansion of the universe back in time. So we use AI extensively. We use it not to do the astronomy, but as a tool. And it can do things that is just really hard. If I want to look at 1 million images and ask a question, well, I can have 1 million graduate students, or I can have AI trained to do it for me. So we put it into our process of discovery all the time. And so interestingly enough, that a very large number of AI practitioners are actually astronomy graduates. Not an obvious thing, but we're very early adopters of things and will continue to be. So I use AI, machine learning in lots of things that I'm doing as a tool in a very broad range of things. So I don't think that's going to change. So Westlake, of course, is hiring some of the best people from around the world. And as astronomers, I promise you, they're already using AI and will continue to use AI. What I think Westlake has the interesting ability to do is integrating AI into how it teaches and how it just makes the university run. The research already happening, so I don't see that being particularly unique. Researchers around the world are going to use AI. But I think integrating into some of the other parts of the university, that could be very exciting, because I can tell you that researchers around the world at universities, including mine, spend a lot of time filling forms in that AI could probably manage for us. And so giving people that ability just to get on with their research and making everything else go well, that would be great. Being able to use AI to be a special tutor for each student, so it kind of pushes the students to where they are, and really, it never gets angry. So we've been trying to use AI to help people learn better, not for people to put the answer in and tell me what the answer is. No, actually, help me figure out how to solve this problem. That's what you ask it, and it does, and it helps people figure out how to be better scientists, which means in the end they're going to be better at being able to use AI to solve the problems rather than being replaced by AI, which is everyone's nightmare.
I mean, on that point, so you're saying that our undergraduates, for example, that are interested in this field shouldn't be too worried?
No, if you're worried about AI, I promise you, doing an astronomy or physics, we're the fields that use AI to do stuff. So I'm not worried about my job going away from AI. I am worried about a lot of people's job going away from AI, but doing something like astronomy or physics is a great way to make sure you're the master of AI. You don't become its slave. You're going to
attend Westlake's Hushin lecture tomorrow. In an age where high-resolution images from JWST are just a click away, how do we make this kind of public event more essential? Is there still a place for these in-person events?
Well, certainly not to replace yet. You got to tell a story. And as a researcher who gets to know all the researchers, I mean, one of the great things about being me is I get to meet all the people making all the discoveries everywhere in the world. And I hear what they're doing first person. And then I can take all those stories and then tell a story about the universe. So it's not just clicking and looking at James Webb. James Webb is amazing and beautiful, but even better is giving a narrative of what you see. This is what we're seeing in those images of James Webb Space Telescope. And so I think there is an ability to tell a story that's quite exciting. We as humans have, for hundreds of thousands of years, had oral traditions where we have storytelling. And that's what we're doing. So yeah, I think there really is a human aspect to it when you realize this isn't made up. This is the real world we're in. And so I think it's exciting. At least I find it exciting. And hopefully enough people will show up who also find it exciting.
As leaders in your fields, what advice would you give to young scholars in China who aspire to contribute to global astronomy? And how should Westlake prepare students for this next and many would argue final frontier?
Young people need to realize there's just huge amounts to learn. And that, I'm a Nobel Prize winner, but I'm a pretty normal person. And, if you ask my high school teachers, and I did you think I would ever win a Nobel Prize? And the answer was no. We didn't think you would win a Nobel Prize. Why would you win a Nobel Prize? You were a good student, but you weren't amazing. But humanity is amazing collectively. People like me, like people studying, go out, do good work, and then things come together and suddenly we make a discovery. And it's a bit random who makes that discovery. So I was very lucky. I was part of a big discovery. But that discovery wasn't made because I'm brilliant and everyone else is stupid. It's actually because a whole bunch of us did good work and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And so each person, I think, needs to have the confidence that they make a big contribution. And they're probably not going to win a Nobel Prize, but they might. They're just as likely as anyone else. So I really encourage students to follow their passion and work on something they really care about. And the important thing isn't to work on stuff that everyone else is working on. It's to work on what you think's interesting and then make everyone else interested in it. And I encourage people to have that confidence to work on what they think is interesting, because that's the way science works.
Looking ahead 20 or 30 years, what do you hope will be humanity's most significant milestone in space?
Still being able to get up there without taking out low Earth orbit with space debris. I think that having it so it's sustainably accessible, that we can get up and do things and use it just as another laboratory. So nothing specific, because I just can't guess, but I think having it really easily accessible so you can just do stuff up there without, creating greenhouse gases that cause problems for the Earth. Not that it's so expensive no one can do it, or, as I said, not that we've somehow managed to create, the Kessler effect and filled the entire low Earth orbit of Earth with debris, so no one can get there. So, high aspirations, maybe not, but that's what I think 30 years really could mean if we get it right.
Is this your first time here?
I was here in 2006. When Hangzhou was a very small, it was a big city, but there was nothing high, and it was the lake, and the giant pagoda, and it was quite sleepy. And I stayed at a government-run hotel on the edge of the lake with pictures of all the leaders in each bedroom. It was a very different world than it is today. It was beautiful then, it's beautiful today, and when I was here, it was in 2006, it was insanely cheap. It was, I had a bunch of money and I just literally couldn't spend it because there was nothing to buy that was that expensive.
We're honored to have you as Westlake University's advisory board member. What would you say is our most critical priority as a university?
So I think you have a real opportunity here to create a place that is truly excellent, but has a scale where you can kind of work collaboratively across disciplines. So most Chinese universities are huge, also a problem in Australia. So one of the things, I was the Vice Chancellor of the Australian National University, the President, and I didn't want to grow it anymore, and that costs you in rankings, because rankings like being big, but it allows you to actually do things differently. So I think there's an opportunity, because Westlake's meant to be small, to really work on problems that are globally significant and to create an environment of a place where people anywhere from the world can come here and feel very comfortable and be able to work with other similar-minded people to work on hard problems. So I think that's the opportunity. If you're able to do that here, you will be unique in China, and I would say almost unique in Asia. And so I think it's really, having just met the president, the eyes on the prize of creating exactly that, I think it's exactly the right thing to do.
This year marks the 10-year anniversary of the inception of Westlake University. With this in mind, do you have a message for our community here at Westlake? Have
confidence to go out and do great things. Figure out how to bring the world here as well as going out and seeing the world. And that means getting into people's heads from around the world and saying, what's going to make them want to come and spend some time here? I think that's really going to be important. But mainly have confidence to go out and do what you think's important, and just do it and show the world. That's what great universities do.